As the hectic Christmas programme approaches, we called up with team manager Tommy Widdrington for once away from a cold and wet training ground when he attended the prestigious Borough Means Business Christmas lunch for his take on recent events and a cracking run of results. Tommy, thanks for coming along today. We're at the halfway point of the season and the team is third in the table. Just how content are you with life as the Christmas programme approaches?
Well, I'm pleased with the way things have gone. I think we came back in pre-season, sort of almost hit the ground running after a good finish to last season. The players surprised me a little bit en masse in the fact that the condition that they were in made my job in terms of the training in pre-season a little easier, to be honest with you. But with the positive run we had in pre-season, I think we carried that on into the season. So where we're sitting now is, I think, is a good reflection of how they've done, and the players need to take the praise. I think good managers always take less of the praise when it's going well and more of the blame when it's not going well, and that tends to be the case all over the place.
Part of the job. So overall, it's better than what you expected at the start of the season?
I think, you know, when I came to the football club, we had definitive targets to hit. Obviously, when I first come, we were about staying in the Conference South. The second season was about improving on that 17th finish. And again, this season ultimately was to improve on the 12th place finish and the points tally that we generated. So we're definitely on course to do that. So for that reason, we're probably ahead of where we thought we were. But like I said, the vast majority of that's got to go down to the lads on the pitch.
Yeah, they've put in some good performances. And after an uncertain set of results back in October, there's been a near perfect run from the start of November onwards. What do you think has been the key to this run? Has it been the players' belief in their spirit?
I think there's many factors, but the biggest factor, I think, which has been a constant throughout the season, is the stability in the team. Certainly in the 16 or 17 lads that have played most of the games. I still think there's about 4 or 5 who've probably missed only one game, and that, any manager will tell you that it's so important to keep that going. But I mean, just take Saturday for instance, we had 3 lads who I'd say the vast majority of people would pick in our strongest 11 should they be fit. They weren't even in the 16, and the guys who've come in have done a fantastic job and given me the type of headache you want before Christmas, not the one after Christmas.
Yes, it's always good when it's too many good players around. So, is it now a case of taking every match as it comes, or is your strategic mind more concentrating or focusing on the possibility of a playoff place now at the mid-season point?
Well, I don't really look at the table. I've said this many times to you. You know, I think by the time you get to Easter, and there's a lot of points to be had around the Easter period, if you're in with a shout then, and you know, it's time to be talking about where you are on the table. We are where we are on merit. I think if you look, football has never played on paper, but people may suggest that we've got a tougher January than we did have in December, or we have in December. But in the same breath, we're third in the league, so I think people who are going to face us will be thinking, oh, we're facing Eastbourne Borough, who are third in the league. So I think it's about taking ownership of the position that we're in. I think for a group of lads as young as I've got, the experienced heads have been hugely important, whether they've played or not. That's Ian Simpemba. Even Adam Watts now, who's our class as an older guy, he's only 24, and Gary Hart in particular. But now Jamie Taylor's come in. He's another 30 plus guy. So I think they really do need to help the younger lads and keep them grounded. But you know, I speak to Ian on a regular basis about the mood of the camp and how the dressing room's feeling, and he says he can feel that the dressing room is taking ownership of their own position. It's them that have put themselves in it, and it's up to them to keep themselves there. So
the pressure is really on the opposition rather than the lads.
Well, I think from very early on in the season, I've noticed that, you know, certainly at home here, teams have come and made it very difficult for us to get our noses in front. And that's a pat on the back to the players, really. You know, I think anybody who's come and watched us or done their diligence on us before they've played us will know we're an attacking, young, vibrant side. And it's not always easy to score goals. And I think everybody has been clamouring for somebody to come in and be the final piece in the jigsaw. Well, I don't agree with that. I don't think it is a final piece to any jigsaw when you're being a football manager. You're always trying to evolve and trying to get better. But I'm certainly happy with the group of lads I've got. And I've got to say, for a small group, for 16, 17 lads who are in the first team squad, you know, I've got no fears about picking any one of them to start any one of the games. And that means I'm not worried about leaving any of them out. And they should all know that.
That's good. I'm sure, for everyone to hear. Well, a telling sign that a manager is achieving good things is the interest they generate from other clubs. As such, there was more than a few palpitations around the lane when Chelmsford asked to speak to you about their vacancy. Terrific news that you're staying here, but how much did going through that process help to reinforce your commitment to the sports?
Like you said, I think you only get mentioned in other fields, if you like, if you're doing well, you know, and that's, again, a testament to the whole football club, not just me. I'm just the one who's driving the boat, if you like. But, you know, I feel that the group I've got now, or my group, I said to you at the beginning of the season, you know, I'd like to be judged this season rather than last season or the season before, because I inherited a lot of players. But people like Simon Johnson, Ollie Rowe, they're my players now. You know, I've re-signed them, and they're playing in roles or doing things for the football club that they weren't doing before. So I'm really happy where I am with the team. I didn't want to step backwards in terms of starting a rebuild middle of the season. It's very, very difficult. So there were a lot of things, you know, weren't right for me personally, and I think as much as people will, and fans are rightly, if you cut them open, they'll be blue and white or black and white or whatever it is that their town's colours hold. Ultimately, managers, players, they do move on, but I haven't seen it yet the right time for me to do that. And then thankfully the club, this football club, want me to stay longer, and we're that far away from agreeing a new deal. So hopefully by the end of the Christmas period, that'll all be done and dusted as well.
That sounds great. A lot of people would be very happy to hear that, Tommy. So getting back to the borough, we're just days away from a holiday programme that's difficult, but one that could have a good few points in it. Especially if the team is looking to have a shout at the end of the season. So you're away at Gosport on Saturday, then at home to Whitehall on Boxing Day, before going back on the road to both Tunbridge Angels and then Whitehall on New Year's Day. How much do you think this programme will be a test of the team's progress and the chances of some honours at the end of the season?
Well, I don't want to talk about honours at the end of the season. All I do know is there's 4 games in about 10 days, and it's a great opportunity to pick up points. Having said that, the teams that you've just mentioned there, the White Hawks, the Tunbridge Angels and the Gosports, all want points, maybe for different reasons to us, but they want points. And all 4 of them games are, in effect, local derbies. And as I'm well aware in the career I've had, when you play local derbies, sometimes form books go out the window, and it's all about who's prepared correctly and come with the best mental stance, to be honest with you. But I think my lads are sensible enough. I think they've already had their Christmas due. I'm not involved with that. I don't want to be involved with what they get up to, but I'm sure that they'll have the focus ready for, firstly, the 21st on Saturday, and then for the busy festive period. And going back to the size of the group may not be big, but I'm sure that with the way the results have gone lately, the lads outside of the team will be desperate to get back in, and the ones in there won't want to be relinquishing their shirts. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's not a real holiday time for footballers, and I've been in it since I was 16. So for the last 26, 27 years, I've been somewhere probably other than my own house on Christmas days and Boxing Days because of football.
So the message to the players is lay off the turkey and not to go on to the beer.
Well, you know, I don't want to be completely bar humbug, but they've got to do what's right. You know, I mean, I'm a firm believer in giving them, you know, the chance to do what's right for themselves. I played in a very good level of football where players who I played with had a drink the night before a game. Now, if that's what they did in the house, then that's what they want to do, that's fine. But all I would say is I don't want my players to be sheep and do something because somebody else is doing it. If what they do is right for them, then that's what they have to do. And they're grown men, although they're young grown men. They are big enough and daft enough to make their own decisions.
Well, Tom, that sounds good. Sounds like the squad's ready for the next 4 matches. So all I can say is have a very Merry Christmas from what you can over the next few days, and a very happy, successful New Year to you and the team. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks very much, Graham. Same back to yourself.
Thanks.